Welcome back to Summon Your Superhuman. You may have noticed that I've had a bit of hiatus with episodes lately, and I would have normally said that life has been happening to me, but I am in full agreement that life has been happening for me. And even though it's been a very challenging few months, it has been equally substantial in growth. And for that, I am grateful to be on this side of all of the challenges, to appreciate what I've been through and where I'm going and where I'm at right now. So, what do we do when we have setbacks? It can be very discouraging. We get so clear and focused on what we want. We're like, great, on Monday, I'm going to start this new thing and it's going to be amazing. And very likely, more often than not, you can almost guarantee that things aren't ever going to go according to plan. And if you can make with peace with that, you're ahead of the game already. But setbacks are always going to happen. And it's all a matter of perspective and how you see it. If you view it like this gigantic obstacle that you couldn't possibly get around and it means it's not meant to be, so I'm not going to try anymore. Well, that's what most people do. But if you're listening to this or watching this, I know that you're not just like most people. You're looking for that edge. You know that there's better for you and that you want more for yourself, and you're always striving to be your best version of you. So, what do we do when setbacks appear? Well, most importantly is don't overreact or react very strongly. And the point of that is so that you can retrospectively observe what is happening to you and perhaps reflect or focus on why it may be happening for you. Because if we are in a victim mindset, which, I've been there, I wholeheartedly can say that I, used to play on that. Why me? Why is this happening? I don't understand why this always has had to happen to me. It's not fair. Woe is me. And you get down on yourself, and getting down on yourself really doesn't get you anywhere but down. So my new mindset, or the one that I've embraced, is that, well, even though it may seem at the time like it sucks, why is this happening? Why does this happen now? Just when things were getting good and I was getting momentum, and why did this have to push me back? Well, there's a reason. And it may not always be obvious straight away when it's staring you in the face, but there's a reason. And unfortunately, you're not always going to know right away. You're going to get hit. So that's why I say try not to react, and try to have some faith that it's happening for a reason, and that it is redirecting you for a reason to where you are meant to be or where you're meant to go. So that's important. I really want you to take that in. And just by using my own example, so if you follow me anywhere, I lost my father the end of April. He lost his battle. So April was a hard month. And amongst, my dad being in the ICU for a month, or being in hospital for a month, but ICU for most of it, and not being sure if he's going to live another day. And I moved back to my brick and mortar business, so where my clinic has been now for 11 years. I commenced back there literally on the Monday after he was admitted to hospital. And I also started an 8-week online challenge. And I also needed to find a new place to practice, to reside my business in 90 days from that date. So I had a few things going on. But I wasn't thinking about really, well, I was doing obviously you focus on the most important things first, right? So most important things are your responsibilities, your livelihood, and your commitment to the people around you that you're there for. So I did everything that I needed to do, wanted to do, and then outside of that was there for my family and my father. Then you just learn to juggle all the different responsibilities that you have, because you have to. If you dwell on it and fight and resist, it doesn't do you or anyone else around you any good at all. So I had to learn to balance and juggle. So yes, then his funeral, and trying to get on with the new normal, for lack of better wording. And I started to find my feet again. And then a couple of weeks later, I had my friend's wedding, which I was very honored to be part of it. I was a bridesmaid, and it was a wonderful wedding, really wonderful wedding. And it was a full-on couple of days. So I hardly slept, and they were full-on days. And, even though it was fun and everything, it took a toll on my immune system. And so the following week, I got COVID, finally, as most people say. But I mean, we're all bound to get it, right? So I got it, and that was me for another 2 weeks. So another obstacle, let's say. Then I had a week of being good and starting to feel really good. And then last Monday, I slammed or squished my thumb in my car door. I was having a great day. I was like, my clients and everyone was in good spirits, great workouts. I did my own workout, and I was going to go home for lunch, and I thought, I need to go buy some coffee beans. So I went to my local, where I go buy my beans, Willow Bend. Shout out to Willow Bend on Queen Street. And I stupidly, I don't know, I was guiding the door closed whilst I was looking for traffic, and I squished my thumb in the door. And it was most painful. It was bleeding, it was purple, it was horrible. And I was devastated. Sorry, us Aussies, we have so much slang. And so I stopped the bleeding, and I'm like, well, I'm here, so I'm going to go get my coffee beans. And I walked over to the store, and it was closed for team bonding. So I walked back to my car, and I had to figure out how I was going to drive home with a bleeding thumb, as it was my right thumb too, and I'm right-handed. So I was devastated. Like, I was just getting my flow back with my training. My mojo was flying high. I was feeling good. And then boom, slammed it. Agony. So I went home, I riced it, had a sook. And then I went back to work. And then that night after work, it was absolute agony. And I was like, oh, I've broken it. I it was sending pain that was making my body convulse. I thought for sure I've broken it, but it didn't look broken. So I was still hopeful I hadn't. Anyway, the next day I went to the doctor's and she looked equally concerned that I may have broken it. So we went off to get an x-ray, and thankfully she called me 90 minutes later and said, it was not broken. It's just sprained. I thought, thank God for that. And I was happy. So after having, you gotta grieve sometimes with things that happen to you that you don't want. And I did, even though I was happy, I still was a little bit sad that it was happening to me. Why now? Why this? And then I snapped myself out of it and went, you know what? There are so many more people out there with worse problems than you, and pull your finger out, basically. So I did. I decided to make lemonade out of lemons, and I thought, okay, I fully switched it on its head. So I took what I deemed as it sucks. It's my right thumb. We do take for granted how much we actually do with our thumb, our hands, and I was not very ambidextrous. Thankfully, I am now. A week later, it's been a week now, and I wanted to do this podcast last week because I was inspired about the complete switch that I had made. Because not only that complete switch motivate me, and I was inspired, I was like, I'm going to become more ambidextrous, and I'm going to focus on my weakness in my left, and I'm going to get better at doing things on my left. I'm going to strengthen my left side. I'm going to train my left side. I'm going to allow myself to train to add load, so add weight to my left side in the lower body as well, and really help balance things out. I'm going to make the most of this. And there wasn't really any other reason I could see for that happening at that time. I thought, this is what I'm going to do. This is what it needs to be. And, the other side of it, I thought as well, it could also be to do with remedial therapy that I do as well. I've been doing it for a really long time and I love it and I won't ever stop, but maybe time to tone it back a little bit. So it's always those little things that I've been thinking about. And there's a lot of change happening. I'm closing a chapter in a couple of weeks from where I have been residing my business for the last 11 years. I'm about to close that chapter in a couple of weeks and open a new one. And I'm really, really excited about it. And prior to about 3 hours ago, I did not know where I was even going. I won't lie to you. I did not know where I was going. I had some inkling that there were some things that were going to potentially align with my completion dates. And I thought, I know something will happen the way it's meant to happen. It'll align. I trust. I do. I have complete faith that everything's going to happen for a reason. It always does. And I found it. I found the place. So now, I wasn't worried anyway. It was kind of laughable how relaxed I actually was, because people around me were more stressed out about the fact that I hadn't decided what my next move was going to be and where my next premise was going to be. Part of me didn't want a premise, wanted to freelance a little bit more and just be a bit more flexible. But this place is everything that I embody, and it couldn't have felt more right. When your body is literally giving you all the signs, when the right thing is staring you in the face, you cannot deny it. And that is the beauty of being so in alignment with your own body and the signs and the communications that it's trying to tell you, because it's always communicating to you, no matter whether you're listening to it or not. It always is there for you to tell you that may not be the right decision, or this is the right decision. And yeah, life is like a maze. That's the visual that came to me before I hit start on this. And it literally is, it's but it's a beautiful, exciting maze. It's not like a boring maze. This is like the most exciting maze to be in, because you never know what's going to be at the next turn. And when you see this glimmer of light and you think, oh, and you get excited, and then sometimes you get to a dead end and might have to take a step back and go around a different way and take a different direction. But that's okay. It's all about the journey. It's, if everything was so easy and predictable, and if you knew what was going to be at every corner, would you be excited to get up in the morning? Would you be motivated to better yourself and to grow and to learn and to continually work on yourself? Probably not. Well, if I don't do anything, it's going to happen anyway, isn't it? So I don't have to worry about it. Right? Isn't that the mentality? Well, it's going to happen, so don't have to worry about it. But there is so much excitement in not knowing, and in the possibilities of what could be. And sometimes you need to take that uncomfortable action, like I did when I put in my 90 days notice. Yes, I know it's absurd, but I had to. That's contractual. So, and I didn't know where I was going to go after that. And even then, people were freaking out. Where are you going to go in 90 days? I'm like, I got 90 days. It's like plenty of time. I'll figure it out. And then life happens, and you take different twists and turns, and then you reach some dead ends, and you go back and you turn around and you take these different places, and then you wonder whether even that place is the place you want to go. And then you wind up where you need to be, which is where I am today, which is ironically the episode I wanted to record for you last week, because I was inspired to motivate based on the fact that I stupidly jammed my own finger into a door and thought, well, if I can turn something painful and crappy as this into something that's inspired people, because I mean, I hope that this has been somewhat inspiring to you. It has to some of my clients. And I've been still training through it. Like, I'm not letting it stop me do what I need to do. I've completely mirrored my left and right and amazingly, you can do things if you put your mind to it, really. And it's humbled me. It's reminded me what learning new skills is all about. And not to say that I know everything, no, but like when I'm doing things that I'm very familiar with, but I have to learn to do things in a different way, it's humbling. And it brings me even closer to my clients who are still getting used to things that are like second nature to me. So I'm grateful that I have this. Look at it. Look how black. It's so painful, even still, but I've only just taken the cast off and stopped wrapping it up. But I hope you can see why I wanted to share this with you today, because setbacks are your, I don't know how to call it. Setbacks is your road to success. It's your road to where you want to be. And it's the path that you're destined to take. So whether or not you like it, you're on it, you're there, you're here, and this is now. And you got to roll with it. Resistance with what is in front of you in life is futile. Resistance in the gym, fantastic. Because I guess you can use it as a similar metaphor, as strength training with weights is difficult. You're fighting against it and it's challenging. But when you persist and keep going with it, and repetition after repetition, you get better and you grow and you learn and you get stronger. So, setbacks to success. how to navigate setbacks is my biggest tip. Try not to react or overreact or react harshly. When something bad happens or something unpredictable, breathe, take a breath, take a deep breath, and try to see how you're going to get through it. Because as my thumb was purple and bleeding, there was nothing else I could do. I had to drive myself home with my right hand. Because what else am I going to do? You know, you just got to roll with it and ride what cards you're dealt with and enjoy the ride, because it's trying to teach you something. And I don't have my phone near me at the moment, but there was a saying that came up, but I'll post it on my socials later. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you can put something that's challenging you in your life right now into perspective and give you some assurance that you're going to navigate it and everything's going to be okay. So until next time, superhuman, I am going to get back on this podcast bandwagon. And I'll see you in the next episode.